During the time I spent my younger life in Delta, most families knew each other, and my family, of course, knew the Embry family. My mother taught two of the Embry children, and I knew them because of the similarity in age, even though they were going to an East Delta school where my mother taught, and I was going to the Delta High School. But when I came back from Alberta to Ladner, I happened to run into a little girl that was 5 years younger than me, who was Maureen Embry, and I was 22 at the time, and she was 17, and I was driving down the main street in Ladner in my 1958 Pontiac Laurentian two-door hardtop with my mud flaps and fake white cap on the tires. And Maureen came out of Wellburn's meat market with her mother, and I happened to look over at her, and she looked over at me, and there was a connection because I knew her mother, and I remember her as a young girl. While I had been away in the RCMP, Maureen had spent her high school years over in West Vancouver, and they had just moved back to the Tsawwassen area. And when I had returned home with the view that I was going to be attending UBC. And this was the first opportunity that I had a chance to meet my beautiful wife, and we've been married for some 55 years, and it's been, and we have two children as well, and it's been quite a journey that both of us have had, and it all started as a result of me happened to be driving by in my Pontiac two-door hardtop, and Maureen happened to be coming out of Wellburn's meat market, which is now long gone, but was on Delta Street. And we both remember that moment. She saw me and I saw her, and something happened, and I phoned her mother and said hello, and she remembered the husband name and the husband family because she knew my mother. And of course, one thing led to another, and I had a date with Maureen. This was just before Christmas of, I guess, 1959, and I was smart enough to, not knowing either one of them particularly well, but I had a dozen roses for Maureen, and I had a dozen roses for my mother-in-law, and that forever cemented my relationship, if not necessarily with Maureen, certainly with my mother-in-law. And as I say, we've been married for 55 years, and I had a great relationship with my mother-in-law, and I have a great relationship with her daughter.